I'm djTLM, and this is Share the Knowledge.
Hey guys, what's going on? It's djTLM, the Last Mohican, and you're checking out episode 31 of Share the Knowledge right here on iTunes, SoundCloud, or Anchor, or maybe you're checking out the video version on YouTube. This is my educational Q&A show for DJs where I try to answer as many questions as possible. I'm going to take this question from Gus, and the question is, what's your opinion on DJing with and without a laptop? I'm thinking of going laptop-less. Now, in this case, I know for a fact that Gus has multiple systems that he can use, and he also has the Denon, the SE5000, and of course, you can just use a flash drive, so you don't need a laptop. So you can just go with the screen. Same thing with CDJs. You can just use the screen on a CDJ. Look, for me personally, I just prefer to have my laptop there. I like the overview on a laptop. I work with CDJs on plenty of occasions, and they work just fine. Same with the SE5000, they work just fine. They have even more options than the CDJ, but I never really liked to work with the small screens. I just prefer that screen that I have on the laptop, and especially nowadays, like with my S9 mixer, where I don't even have to touch the laptop. It's just there for the visual when I'm trying to find a new track. And besides looking for tracks, I'm actually not using that laptop. Everything happens on the mixer and with the vinyl. But I never like scrolling on the little screens. And the screens are quite big on that SE5000 on the CDJ. It's not like it's a small screen. But I just prefer to use the laptop. So even with CDJs, if I had the opportunity, I was using them with Serato and my laptop instead of just the CDJs. Even though I can see the advantages when you have like a quick gig that you just have to come in with your flash drive, plug it in, and you're good to go. Of course, that's a million times faster than having to plug in stuff. Even on most occasions, it's not a lot. I just have to plug in a laptop, bring out the control vinyl, I'm good to go. Just add my needles. But yeah, it's both gonna work fine. It's just, what do you prefer? And I know you've done both. You've been with the laptop. So if you're comfortable with that smaller screen on the players and that works for you, and I've seen it work for a lot of DJs, then that's a great option as well. It's one less device you have to bring. But for me, I'll take that laptop any day because I just love the workflow that I get when looking at the laptop and then going back to my decks. So that's, for me, that's the thing. Now, just one thing I want to get across to you out there, not you, Gus, but other DJs listening or watching, never doubt if you should use a laptop or not because you're afraid of what people might think of you. Yes, there is a bias among a certain group of people that when they see DJs with a laptop, that they say that it's not a real DJ. Look, don't pay any attention to any of that. First of all, you shouldn't care about what people think or say about you. But in this case, definitely, if people still feel that if they see a laptop that you're not a real DJ or that you're not really DJing, that's on them. That's their ignorance. Everyone out there who's DJing with a laptop, with Serato, Tractor, or whatever it is you use, you know it is not the laptop doing the work. Even if you're one of the DJs who uses sync on every transition, it is still you. You are still the one who makes the choice. You are the one who selects the tracks. You are the one who decides when to start and finish the mix, the transition. That's not the computer. You're the one working the EQ. You're the one using the effects. You're the one in charge of the volume. So if people still feel that way, that should never, never, never affect how you feel about what you're using. But of course, when it comes to convenience, I can understand why a lot of DJs prefer to not have a laptop anymore because they just want to come in with that flash drive and be happy that way. And yes, those players have perfectly fine displays on there. It's just not my preference. Oh, since we're on the subject of laptops, Kevin also has a question, and he tells me he lives in an area where places will hire a DJ that only uses a laptop. I'm not a hater, but I have a hard time seeing laptop-only DJs in the same category. What are your thoughts? All right, so I just talked about how you should not feel that you need to change your setup because of the way people feel, and that there is a bias towards DJs that use laptops. Now, of course, I was talking about DJs that are using DVS like Serato or Tractor with turntables and CDJs. But of course, you can also DJ with just a laptop. Now, I can imagine that for some of you, it might feel like DJs that only use laptops are not doing the same thing you are because you have decks and a mixer, like actual hardware, and you're doing your transitions there. But at the end of the day, it might look different when you see someone just with a laptop and maybe using a mouse or a trackpad. At the end of the day, the DJ's job is to rock the crowd. So it is about their song selection, about their timing, and all of that. If someone is using a laptop and they're rocking that crowd, they're playing the right tracks at the right time for the right amount of time, having interaction with the crowd, make their mixes sound smooth, not just because they might use sync, but also EQ-wise and all of that. They use their effects the right way and everything. Then it shouldn't really matter because their mixes are quality, they're rocking the crowd, reading the crowd the right way. They are showing that they have the skills a DJ needs to rock a crowd. Now, granted, they're not using decks to do it, but if we're talking like that, to me, in a way, this is still the same discussion as DJs that are vinyl-only DJs with turntables saying that that's the real thing, and they feel that people with CDJs are cheating and people with Serato are cheating, and that they're not in the same category. So, I don't know. I try to stay away from labeling people like that, even though I totally understand where you're coming from, because at times it was kind of frustrating to see people, just general public, putting you in the same category, putting me in the same category as a DJ who's standing on stage, just pressed a couple of buttons, has some pre-prepared mixes, and spends like 70% of their set on top of the table waving their hands. So yes, they are also rocking the crowd, but of course, they're also not doing the same thing that I'm doing. So at that moment, I was thinking about, shouldn't they be called something else? But most of the times, we're talking about some of these big EDM DJs. A lot of times, they're playing their own productions, and they're actually giving more of a concert than an actual DJ set because they are playing their own music to a crowd that came to hear their music. It's a little bit different than a traditional DJ who plays other artists' music and is just there to rock a crowd. We don't get the same type of attention as one of those DJs because we don't have a lot of singles out with our own music. So it is a bit of a different situation then. But if someone's there with just a laptop but doing the exact same thing I'm doing, playing all sorts of music, rocking that crowd, and doing everything right, I don't know if he should be categorized differently. Yes, he's only using a laptop, but if we're going to start like that, then there should be vinyl DJs, Serato DJs, or DVS DJs, CDJ DJs, laptop DJs. Do we really want to have so many categories? But it is a bit funny to me to see that there would be a club that only hires if they use laptops. Do you know why? To me, that's the strangest part about this whole scenario. But I understand where you're coming from, and I hope you understand where I'm coming from as well.